but I certainly like that little boop wrap. Oh yeah, every time I say boop, take a shot of soda or sweet tea. I think this is my sweet spot for standing. Boop. Did you take your shot? All right, it is 5:04. I am way past getting started, y'all. I am going to get started right now. Let me just wait before I do. Let me just make sure. All right, fingers crossed this is recording and it's going out. My name is Dr. Popular. I am a national trick innovator, third place world yo-yo champion. I have my own line of yo-yos. I am known for doing tricks with very terrible names, including pony farts, skin the gerbil, and well, purple monkey dishwasher, but that's a Simpsons reference. Uh, I have been really into responsive play lately, and I've always loved 5A. Uh, Huge fan of like counterweight play, and it was about 2 years ago, I think, that those two finally merged. There was kind of this like responsive stuff was super amazing and inspirational, and I had this weekender yo-yo that I was loving to do responsive yo-yoing, and then I would go back to unresponsive yo-yoing when I did my freehand counterweight single A stuff. And just somewhere along the line, I was like, "Wait, these two things can go together," and it was it was a big trip in the beginning. And I think some of y'all might have that same experience if you are unresponsive players. If you play with bind return, it's a little bit in the beginning switching gears, like switching mentally from unresponsive play to responsive play. Sometimes you'll give a tug on a yo-yo, think it'll come back up, and it won't because you switched yo-yos. Um, but eventually, I think what you'll find is that the styles really start to influence each other. So in the beginning, they kind of start off like your left and right brain fighting or something, and then after a while, you'll start to find that you start doing a bind into a stall, and things like that. You start to kind of find inspiration between these two things that feel totally opposite. So let's get started with what is modern responsive 5A or counterweight. So we got a couple definitions here. Modern responsive is just my term for the type of responsive yo-yo that I'm using. And the reason I say this is because there are yo-yos like the Deep State that are really great responsive yo-yos, but they're not snappy. Like you could do a spirit bomb on them. You could do kind of like, if you're good enough, you could do Ouija bow and all that stuff. But they're not exactly something you would want to loop with. When you're talking modern responsive, you want something that doesn't stall when it comes back up to you. You want it to be snappy, and you want it to just come right back up to you. It's almost a looping yo-yo. In fact, if you don't have a good responsive yo-yo, you can use like a looping yo-yo, like a Fireball, or even like cheap Walgreens yo-yos. Some of those with the plastic axles and stuff. One of my favorite responsive yo-yos is the Yo-Yo Factory plastic. I think it's called a Spin Star. It is just like a sliding plastic sleeve on the inside. It gives you just a little bit of sleep, but really snappy. And that's the important part. That's what makes modern responsive is that snappiness. So counterweight is just having a weight on the end of the string. The style invented by Steve Brown, who originally it was called freehand, and then it became part of the 5A division. So it's we use all those terms. I think 5A is sort of the most common way of referring to it now. So modern responsive counterweight looks like this. And I think one of the kind of things visually that's happening for me is it's almost like a slinky being pulled apart, or like taffy being pulled apart. There's this cool, the way I like to do it, there's this cool stretchy thing where the string kind of goes out and goes in, it goes out and goes in. And I'm not doing a lot of sleeping. You totally can. But what I'm really doing is a lot of sleeping just for a second and then pulling it back up. And before we get into the tricks, just to talk about maintenance for like a responsive yo-yo, uh, you want your counterweight for this style. You want a nice snappy yo-yo. This is a Thing, Thing, by Toy Bania. This is the Pop Art by Skill Toys, by Rain City Skill Toys. And this is an entirely leather yo-yo that's basically a fixed axle yo-yo with a little counterweight on the end. Again, snappy. That's all you need. Uh, Whatever you want to use, just make sure it's snappy. And to keep it that way, you can use this stuff. This is a Traxxas. You can get it on, unfortunately, Amazon's kind of the only place to get it, and it's about $2. I think. Well, no, the price fluctuates. It goes between $2 to $6, and this tube will last you forever. When I sell weekenders and day trippers and stuff, I'll lube up 100 or 150 all on the tube, so you should be fine. So, and then as far as string length goes, uh, for all responsive, for like modern responsive yo-yoing, I usually use a shorter string, and I usually use a thin string. The reason for that is a lot of responsive yo-yoing, modern responsive yo-yoing, is going to do what we call a stall, like a string stall, the man in the trapeze stall, whatever you want to call it. And if your string is thick, it'll fill up a lot, and if your string is long, it'll also fill up a lot. So what I'm saying is, if you have a lot of string in there, you won't have a lot of room for the yo-yo to sit. Like, it'll be really clustered on there. So the shorter your string and the thinner it is, the less of an outer diameter that that string has when it's wound. Thus, the more room it is for stall catches. So these are going to be a lot easier with a short string. And by short string, I'm just, again, it's just to my belly button. That's where I like to keep it. All right. Uh, I'm going to do my best to keep my eye on here for like any sort of questions or anything like that. But I think at the end of each trick section, I'm going to check and see if there are any questions. So let's just get started with I think the bare bones trick for responsive counterweight play. It's going to be a string stall tossover. So I think, yeah, that's called a tossover. So it's just boop, boop. When you're doing freehand, when you're doing counterweight style, one of the first things you learn is a trapeze and then a dice release or counterweight release. This is basically the equivalent of that. This is sort of the fundamental move that you will use to transition. Like, this is the thing you're going to use all the freaking time. And it starts with a string stall. So what that means is you're going to do basically a trapeze, but you're going to tug the yo-yo before the string even touches your finger. You're going to pull it back and catch it like that. So this is really not even a counterweight thing. This is just the basics of responsive yo-yoing, this move right here. And from here, if the string is tight, the yo-yo will fall off. So you kind of give the yo-yo, kind of like this V shape or checkmark shape, keeping your hands kind of close together. That way the yo-yo doesn't want to fall, where if my hands are far apart, the yo-yo will fall. And I also catch it really close to my left hand, to my free hand. So this is my throw hand, this is my free hand. From here, and that's again a breakaway pull. From here, I just toss over and roll out. So the longer the string is, kind of the better. The closer the yo-yo is to your free hand, the better. This nice long string right here is going to give me a chance to just throw. Didn't mean for it to wrap all the way. I catch it on the bottom and I just roll out. Me and my homies roll out now. So again, we are doing string stall, really close to my free hand. Again, my left hand. I'm going to throw, catch. So I'm just basically kind of doing that. I throw, catch it on the bottom, roll out. And I'm going to do that kind of just real smooth and normal now. Does anyone, before we go on to the next trick, does anyone have a question on the tossovers? Is anyone having trouble just with the stall itself? Let me know in the comments. Roll out now. Me and my homies. Okay, I'll still try to keep checking. I don't see any questions so far. Uh, Again, this is a trapeze stall And when you're doing trapeze stalls, if you do your hands close together, you're obviously not going to have much room to throw that weight. Uh, so you really kind of want to keep it. This is sort of your target, maybe right here. So bam, and that's just so that I can do that toss out. So catch real close to your free hand and keep your hands apart. If you have trouble, if it keeps landing like this, what's happening is you're just bringing your hands close together and you just need to kind of like force yourself to pull that other hand away. If for some reason you can't, then you can kind of walk it if you need, like this, like kind of like I'm unrolling it. Obviously, you don't want to do that like all the time. Cool. So from the toss over, and again, the toss over is that move. What I like to do, and I'm just jumping to like my favorite trick right now. I'm just skipping all the others. Bam. Uh, and that I have a terrible. Oh, that's a popover. Uh, so a popover is the move on this side where you actually release the yo-yo. So it starts with the toss over, which is the first move we did, and then when I unroll, I'm gonna swing to my right, my throw side. My left hand is on top, and I'm going to pull the yo-yo. So that looks like this. Like you can, if you're having trouble with the toss over with this part, you can actually just do this just from a trapeze stall. So you can go stall, and then you're going to go out to this side, over to this side, and pull. And now I have counterweight in one hand, yo-yo held in the other hand. You can see I'm holding it on the sides. And the next move is going to be around and drop. Now we're actually going to do that in the air, but for all for all like learning purposes, we're going to do that in small steps. And I see a question from Ernie. Ernie, for string, I use cotton for fixed axle, like for my leather yo-yo. I don't use cotton for anything else. It doesn't last as long. It doesn't age as well. I use nylon and I use slims. The folks at Sinister Cephalopod and uh, Jeremy. I'm the name of his string is escaping me. Oh, Zipline. They both have nylon slims. So yeah, those are what I like using. So okay, right. We're doing bam, and then we're going to cross our arm. So cross my my left hand is on top of my right hand. I'm right-handed, uh, and then I'm going to pinch, holding on to just the sides of the yo-yo. I'm going to let go of the counterweight and then swing it and catch it. And then from here, I'm just going to drop, and you can catch that back into a stall again. So here, and we're not quite at the toss over yet because as the name implies, there's a toss. Sorry, we're not quite at the pop over. Toss over is this. So once you have this move, once you have the alternate hand catch, so you're crisscrossed, you're going to do this thing, but you're actually going to do this in the air. So I'm going to let go. I'm going to start that unwind. I'm going to start this, and as the yo-yo's out, I'm just going to uh, let go of the counterweight, let go of the yo-yo, catch the counterweight. Full speed looks like this. So that's a toss over into a pop over. I'm not super creative with names anymore. I wish these names had like stupid, weird names. But yeah, toss over, pop over. Is anyone playing along? Just kind of curious if anyone is having any troubles on any of these. And I'm gonna say one note. I probably make this part look easy. This part being the kind of letting go. Um, it's actually a little tricky. The yo-yo kind of wants to flip. You want to get it to start its unwind as soon as possible so that gyroscopic stability is going to happen. This is a very counterintuitive, like for me, it's very intuitive now. I've been doing it for a while, so I think I kind of forget this part. But when you drop, the string is on the bottom side. It's just not the same as like a power throw or anything. And it's literally just kind of dropping, and just getting a tiny bit of spin and then catching it again. As you get better, you can kind of force some spin into it, but you're never going to get a spin like you would from a breakaway or a power throw. It's going to be almost just uh, like I kind of whip it, but there's hardly any spin. There's hardly any spin right here. Yeah, so penguins mentioning exactly what I'm talking about, and I think this is one of the things that I just totally kind of glossed over. But there are a few with my style. There are a few times where the yo-yo is really kind of not spinning the way it's supposed to be, and you barely have enough spin, or the yo-yo kind of wants to be a different way or whatever. So it's going to take just a little finesse. Once you get used to it, you don't even think about it anymore. But like from right here, usually I would kind of want to throw it this way, but that's the wrong spin. Like the yo-yo would have to be up for that to work. So instead of giving it a throw, it's just this kind of awkward little drop and, hoping that it gets that spin and stays stable. I am going to continue on. Let me just loosen up here. All right. Alternating sides. I hope we're doing okay with the string stalls because we're going to come back to another string stall, just a trapeze stall. Trapeze stalls are sort of the fundamental of responsive play in general. Like this is where, for me, a lot of the work happens is just kind of doing, double or nothing stalls or whatever. So they're going to also, for my style of counterweight play, they're going to be heavily used for that as well. So once you have this trapeze stall, a good thing to learn is just crossing arms, just popping the yo-yo out and switching hands with the free hand weight, the counterweight. So I have the counterweight in my right hand because I'm right-handed, my throw hand. I'm going to pop out, and as I kind of catch a trapeze on the other side, I'm just switching hands. So if you're thinking about this like as a basic free hand trick or counterweight trick, one thing that we used to do is, when getting started was just kind of this, just switching sides. Well, we're going to do that same thing from a stall. Give it a stall on this side. This is just good practice and, something to kind of uh, just practice, break things up. So again, I'm just switching the counterweight. And the way I hold my counterweight, if it helps, is between these two fingers oftentimes. So these two fingers are here and these two fingers are here. So it's very easy for me to just do that. And then, catch a trapeze over here and then just kind of close that middle finger and pointer finger. So it's very easy to just switch the counterweight for me. I'm not like placing the counterweight from hand to hand. I'm just letting go of one hand, just like that. So once you have the alternating, you kind of get used to switching the counterweight. I hope this is all in view there. Once you kind of get used to that, the next thing to do is to do this. Oops. I get nervous when there's 500 folks watching. All right, boop. So this time I did the same thing. I went from one hand to the reverse stall, but I didn't let go of the counterweight. And the reason is because I want to let go of that now. and do a pullover. So we're going to go here. I'm going to let go of the counterweight, let it continue, and then pull. And this might be kind of hard on your alternate hand. So if you're having trouble with that move, I can't blame you. A good way to do it is this. What I did there was I did this setup, but before I did that, I put the counterweight in my left hand. So I just threw a breakaway, I transferred the weight, and now I'm going to do a stall. And then this is actually a lot easier for me going towards this side. I really feel like I'm skipping past a lot of hard stuff there. Cool. Steve, I'm super glad that you saw. I didn't see Ed's workshop yesterday, so I don't know how much repetition there's going to be, but I'm really glad that you're kind of familiar with this because it sort of sucks to learn the fundamental during the workshop. Now that you have at least like a day of practice, hopefully you can kind of explore some of the other weird stuff. So I want to go through that thing I was just doing again because I feel like I kind of breezed through it. I'm going to throw a breakaway. I'm going to transfer the counterweight to my left hand, my what would normally be my free hand. I'm going to grab the middle of the string, and now I'm going to do a stall. And normally this stall would look like this, but because I transfer the counterweight, it looks like this. Now I'm going to, the thumb is holding the counterweight, so I can just easily let go of the thumb. And when the counterweight slides to my right, I'm just going to continue it over. And you can see what I want to do next. I just want to unwind. So I'm just following that motion. You can tell it's a lot harder for me on my right side. You don't have to be ambidextrous. Like I think when we first were all doing counterweight style, I think Steve kind of had in mind this idea too. I think a lot of us had it in mind that now all of a sudden we're going to be able to do things like on either side. Like counterweight's just going to, we're all going to be ambidextrous, and we'll be throwing with our left hand, and then throwing with our right hand or whatever. And that never really caught on. Counterweight ended up being something a lot more interesting than just being ambidextrous. All that being said, all of these things are kind of nice to, even the toss over, these wines, which I never came up with a name for them, but like it is nice to know how to do it on both sides. I always favor my left side. Yeah. Yeah, I remember. I mean, I did. I am kind of proud that I was able to do my, what, split the atom left-handed or whatever with like no practice. So there was some ambidextrous behavior, ambidexterity. All right. I want to go over this one more time because I just think it's beautiful. And then yeah, we have double explosion next. So again, one more time, this move, which is going to be a trapeze stall, but with a brother, is going to look like this. It's going to, I just use my thumb. I transfer the weight and I catch. I drop, swing, pull. So thumb goes over my pointer finger, transfer, catch. Let's do that normal speed. Thumb, drop, pull. All right, cool. All right, double explosion. I swear, I wish my names were. I used to have such good names for tricks. Double explosion looks like this. Um, and also, you might notice I'm catching on my alternate hand a bunch. I have a lot of reasons for doing that, but they're kind of advanced things. But yeah, I don't know. Just pointing out that I do have a weird catch. Usually, you catch in your throw hand. Anyway, the double explosion is going to be our next trick, and that's going to be a double or nothing. stall. So double or nothing is just wrapping around both fingers. You have this area right here. I'm assuming if you kind of made it this far in the video, you already know double or nothing, but just in case, it's a breakaway, pointer finger, pointer finger. So what I'm going to do for a double or nothing stall is right as it goes here, I'm going to give it that little tug and just catch kind of like the tiniest little trapeze, a little ibbity, boop, take a shot, right? And that's that's a common like non-responsive, non-counterweight style trick. When you want to throw the counterweight in, what's going to happen is you're going to do this, and you're going to let go of the weight. And a couple fun things are going to happen. The tug on the yo-yo is going to make the yo-yo start to wind, and that winding is going to accelerate the counterweight. So I give it that tug, I let go of the thumb. Sorry, I let go. You can see how I'm holding here with these two fingers. So I go around, I give it that tug as the yo-yo is coming up. As it's coming up, I let go of the counterweight. I give it a little tiny pinch with this hand. Really, you don't have to actually pinch it. What's going to happen is the velocity is going to kind of want it to kind of stay about that far. Double or nothing. I'm going to let go of my counterweight right there. It's going to hit my hand, reverse direction, and I do a pullover. Does changing angles help? If you do it too fast, which I just did, your counterweight string, that little extra string at the end, is going to be too small to really do anything with. It's still kind of made it work there. If you're having trouble with this, the main thing is to break it down into steps. And the first thing is to just practice double or nothing stall. And once you get that double or nothing stall, try, letting the yo-yo hang, really kind of thinking about what you're going to do. What you're going to do is you're going to let go of that weight. You're going to let go of that weight, but you're going to do it there. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. So now let's string together a combo, right? Let's think about the moves we've learned. We've learned the toss over, the pop over, the double explosion. So let's try putting those together. Toss over, pop over, double explosion. Oh, and that order actually, as I think about it, is maybe not a great order because the pop over, which is this, you're not going to have a lot of spin. So, I mean, we can still try it. This would be like if there was a trick ladder, I think the next trick would be putting together the first three things in an order as a combo. So toss over, pop over, double explosion. Weird catch in your left hand for no reason. I mean, I could explain this when I get to it later, but hey, Peter. Toss. Oops. Pop. Double explosion. All right, let's mix things up a little bit. I just want to do something not string stall. I'm going to do something kind of fun. This one won't work with all yo-yos, but yeah, Steve, if you can do them individually, then you're kind of like on the right track. Super, super stoked for you. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is a pull start, which looks like this. And pull starts can be done with various yo-yos. Like I could do a pull start with a weekender or with the thing. I really like to do pull starts with the pop art. And there's a few other wooden yo-yos. Spinworthy out of Australia makes some really good, like the Knack is really good. Basically, what you want is a little dimple and a little claw. You're just going to pinch on either side, and you are going to pull. Kind of like if you think of like starting a chainsaw or something. Vroom, vroom. Uh, yeah. And what I like to do from there, like, so, the first thing is just, kind of doing it. So what I like to do is really just do one and let go of the counterweight. When the you can kind of tell that the string kind of pulls back in. So I go out, the yo-yo winds and then grabs and starts pulling the string back in, and your hand comes in. Well, at that point, when the string cart starts winding, I just let go and let it go around, and then I do a toss out. So now the second part of this, oh, and it's 5:38. I think I'm gonna do, I think I'm gonna do 10 more minutes of tutorials and then questions. Uh, yeah, the next throw, crappy. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that. Um, yeah, but I'm gonna do like just one more tutorial after this one, maybe kick the brother or Fibonacci sequence or something. And then I'm gonna do questions. So anyway, you're doing this pull start. Hopefully, if you have the right yo-yo or if you have dry fingers, which you kind of see me keep drying my fingers, yeah, you could use some climbing chalk. Uh, let go. I'm going to go around. Now, one thing that's going to happen, and Steve pointed this out in the comments, the yo-yo is wound crappy. The yo-yo really wants to be wound this way for the next throw, but instead it's this way. So the string is on this side instead of this side. And we are going to learn to deal with that because a lot of cool things happen if you get used to that awkward throw. You have to be super kind of precise with your throw. It's really weird, but if you can be precise, then you can kind of get out of that. So what's going to happen is we're going to go around. Whoops, around. I'm going to let go, and I'm just going to kind of do that drop, sort of like when we were doing that cross arm. Do that drop, and then whip. So the regeneration, it's what's going to save us there. So you just need enough spin so that you can do a regeneration. Pull, let go, drop and pray, regen, catch. Let's see if I can do that kind of normal speed. And you might have noticed I am kind of throwing, like when I'm breaking it down, I'm just dropping and praying that it, builds up spin and winds the right way. But when I actually do this, I guess I find that I do kind of throw. It's the wrong throw. It's like as if you were holding the yo-yo the wrong way and trying to do a power throw. This is something that's not going to work super easily. Another thing, maybe this is a little easier. If you have a good yo-yo that can do this, uh, this thing that I just failed to do when I was demonstrating for you, if you have a yo-yo that you can pull start with, you also have a yo-yo that you can do a trapeze and boop. It's a super goofy trick. I love it. I throw a trapeze. One of the few times you're going to see a non-stall trapeze this tutorial, this workshop. Throw a normal trapeze. My free hand comes in. I just kind of pick the yo-yo up, let it wind. So I didn't wind that time. I accidentally stopped it. But I'm going to pick the yo-yo up. Oh, I'm going to just the as I do that, the string starts to wind up a little bit, right? And I just do a little boop on this side, and then I just catch the counterweight and put it back on here. So that's going to look like this. I can't kickflip for anything. Trapeze, pinch, let go of the counterweight, and then catch it there. I feel like Ed has kind of a style of tricks that he does that's very similar, but like he does this with the yo-yo. I can imagine him kind of doing it like from a palm spin. And you could basically all those tricks you could kind of probably adapt if you have the nice little area for a finger spin. All right. We have one trick left, and then I'm going to answer questions. And so I want you to help me pick. Do you want to learn undertail, which is this one? So undertail is another kind of flip in the air. Or do you want to learn uh, a kickflip trick, knowing that I can't do kickflips? Kickflip looks like this, by the way. God, they're hard. God, they're hard. So kickflip trick or a little aerial trick. Let me know in the comments, and uh, I will go over that. And then after that, then we can kind of go over any questions. But we're just gonna have like one more. All right, kickflips. Steve, do you want kickflips? Is that what you're saying? You want kickflips? I can't do kickflips. Man, okay. So kickflips is a fundamental modern responsive trick. It is, if this is the building block, if this is like kind of like what you do like to get into something, the thing you're usually going to do is a kickflip. And it looks like this. Trapeze stall, you're going to swing the yo-yo forward. The yo-yo is going to, your finger's going to come out. That loop is going to fly around. The yo-yo does a flip, and then you catch on the flip. So kickflips are so hard. There we go. And the only reason I'm kind of doing this trick is because it would be weird to do a responsive freehand workshop without having some sort of clever kickflip thing. So my clever kickflip thing is kick the brother, and that I might not land, but this is how kick the brother is supposed to work. You remember earlier we did this kind of brother stall where I transferred the counterweight to my free hand, to my left hand, and then you do this. Well, we're going to do that same stall, but we're going to do a kick flip. So we're going to do that stall. My counterweight would normally be here, but I've transferred the counterweight to my other hand. I'm going to do a kick flip. At the same time, I'm going to let go of the counterweight and do this. So we're doing a kick flip where the yo-yo is not unwinding. It's just doing a 180 flip, 360 flip. And as that's happening, we're going to start that position, and let's see if we can even get this for this tutorial, guys. If so, you have to give me lots of Livee lollipops, right? Here we go. Oh, wait. Oh, you know what? I should trade yo-yos. So close. Maybe I'll hit it with this one. Kickflips. Curse you. I think Ed created kickflips. He's the master at it. So's Drew. Oh, I saw that giant loop moving in slow motion. That's the thing about kickflips. When you start to get them, you can really kind of like, it feels like everything's moving in slow motion. You can just kind of like get it. There we go. Super sloppy, but that was a kick the brother. So I'm doing this while doing a kickflip. All right, let's trade yo-yos. Give it a try with this guy. And I can, if anyone's curious, I can kind of walk through the yo-yos that I'm using. I am not I mean, I have my own yo-yo company, but like I'm glad to show you yo-yos that I actually just like and use and paid money for. Uh, Kick the brother. There we go. That was my second kick the brother of like 20 tries, some 1 in 10. Hey, what you doing? Oh, I'm watching a guy miss a trick 20 times in a row. Cool. All right. I hit it twice. You'll just have to trust me on that. But hey, that's a good trick to end on because, you can learn that trick now and uh, next time we see each other in person at a contest or whatever, you can be like, hey, Doc, remember how you can't do kick flips? Well, I can. And you can do kick the brother right in front of me. And that's kind of my life as a yo-yoer. It's just constantly seeing people do my tricks better than me. Oh, yeah, all these tricks that I showed you today, I'm fairly sure are original tricks. Yeah, most of them are named. I know I didn't name all of them, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. So I want to do question and answers, uh, and yeah, I'm using yeah, Duncan Butterfly is a good yo-yo for this. All right, so I want to know if anyone has any questions for me. Until there are questions, I'm just going to show you the yo-yos I'm using. Oh, actually, you know what? I kept talking about this thing. Here's this weird catch that I do. Uh, it's a weird behavior, but like from a trapeze stall, from this, I hook the string and, oh, I don't hook with that finger though, do I? I hook with my middle finger and I catch this and I don't know why. I just love that throw. I have this move. I have like a few moves that are kind of like, left hand centric. Like the yo-yo should be in my right hand. I don't know if it's the counterweight or what, but I really like catching um, with my left hand, where normally I would catch with my right hand. But I've even just so that whole workshop, I was kind of saying ignore the fact that I'm doing this because it's probably a bad behavior. But yeah, that's why I'm doing that. It's just this pop out. I hook with my middle finger. I give it a tug with my throw hand, and then I catch it in my left hand. This little move right here, I call the magnet, where the yo-yos. I just did that catch, so I just did this awkward catch, and then I just keep the yo-yo palm up, like palm open, let go of the counterweight, and turn my wrist. No one notices it. Like it's a trick that I actually had to learn, and it doesn't even look like anything, I think. I mean, I might be wrong. It might look like a flourish, just for that. But yeah, like even if I'm throwing again, I kind of throw from both hands versus, yeah, it's even weird just catching. So anyway, that's my weird catch that I kept doing that I talked about. What is the best uh, favorite response system for fixed axles? So fixed axle yo-yos, I'm not an expert on fixed axle yo-yos like Ed is. I'm not as passionate about those. As far as fixed axles go, anything like that Duncan butterfly, I really like light yo-yos for responsive yo-yoing, for modern responsive. So all of my ball bearing, all of my transaxle yo-yos are super light. The Weekender is, one of the lightest yo-yos that I kind of throw pretty consistently, and the pop art is also really light. I feel that a light yo-yo is going to give you the snappiest response. A heavy yo-yo is going to want to fight more. Like a light yo-yo, it's spinning, you give it a tug, it comes right back up. A heavy yo-yo, it really wants to keep spinning. It really wants to keep sleeping. That's why we use them. That's why we have centrifugal, outer rim weight, right? Is so it sleeps longer. It doesn't just come back up. And all of that goes out the window when you have, modern and responsive. You actually want something light and snappy. Um, as far as fixed axles, again, I don't have a lot. I mean, the important things with fixed axle is that you're using a cotton string. My favorite string is cotton, Kotn, by Zipline strings. That is my like. When I say important, I'm not talking about for play. If you use like a nylon string with a fixed axle, like especially with a wooden yo-yo, you are gonna burn that thing. Like you're gonna give it a throw, and the yo-yo is just gonna go poof right off the string. You're gonna smell some smoke. The nylon yeah, it's not great. So get a good cotton string. A good cotton string will last you for a while. You still have to change cotton more often than you have to change nylon. If you're playing transaxle, if you're playing like ball bearing, whatever, I totally recommend just 100% nylon. You can tell it's nylon because it'll have this fluffy bit at the end. Cotton looks less floppy at the end. Um, and let's talk about some of these weird yo-yos. Uh, I don't think cotton lasts the longest. Not for me. This string is like maybe 2 months old, like constant use. And this one I put on just yesterday, and it's not close to going yet. But if I played this, all the time, I think, I would want to change it within a week. So this yo-yo and a few of the counterweights you might have seen are leather. So this is a leather yo-yo by, I think you'll just have to Google leather yo-yo Japan. There's a dude who makes these killer, weird leather yo-yos. If you like fixed axle and you like response or you like counterweight, these are really fun because the leather counterweights are super comfortable. Like if they bop you in the head or whatever, they're not going to hurt like a plastic will. You can even kind of hear this, icky sound. I think it's icky. Where this is just it's like a little pillow. So I really like leather counterweights. And soft kind of rubber counterweights, but leather counterweights, which are kind of hard to find. I go to a store in Japan that specializes in leather counterweights, and they also make leather yo-yos, which are not the easiest things to use. I mean, this is literally a leather axle. This is just pieces of leather. There's no wood, there's no ball bearing, there's no response system. It's just, it's the weirdest yo-yo, man. Like just all leather, squishy yo-yo, and a little matching uh, leather yo-yo, which if you're gonna ask, which you probably are, um, I I can't do any tricks with the small one. I can't even get the small one to like I had this idea in mind that I was gonna like yo-yo. Ah, so stupid. Yeah, I had this idea in mind that I was gonna go like stall yo-yo. Yeah, that hasn't worked out yet. I use this toy. I don't really care about like, meditative wooden yo-yos and stuff. Like I just kind of like snappy yo-yos. Um, so I use this more just for challenge. It's way harder. Like it's way harder to do stuff with. It doesn't have the rim weight. It barely sleeps. It is snappy, but I can like barely get through, because even though you are doing responsive stuff, which is a lot of stalls, you do have, sleep time. There is sleep involved. Yeah. Oh yeah, one more thing, just because I have this out. I was trying to, eh, eh, hey, the little heart. Okay, yeah, that's not good. And yeah, let me show you my other counterweights that I'm having here. These are also from that shop that I talked about, that leather Japanese yo-yo shop. These are both leather. He has some that he puts like animal eyes, like taxidermy eyes, into. So like he's doing, cow leather, and then he's got this kind of realistic looking eye on the inside. It's kind of creepy. But this is my favorite by far. This one's easy to string. It's like, as you can see, you just kind of put a slip knot around it and it's ready to go. But this weight is the perfect weight. It's nice and soft. Yeah, it's really badass. So if I'm not using these counterweights, the counterweights that I like using are Porycon, which you can kind of see that similarity in shape, right? That's kind of my go-to shape. So this is plastic. And then the yo-yos, once again, this is a pop art by Rain City Skills. Very lightweight, not very rim weighted. So you're going to have like some trade-offs. Like there's some things that it's going to be great at. The things that it's really good at, aside from being nice and snappy, is those pull starts. This thing is beautiful for pull starts. This is the same hub that I use for the Icarus yo-yo, which is one of my yo-yos in my shop. And I like the Icarus yo-yo so much that I wanted all my yo-yos to kind of have like this little thing. I didn't know it would be so much fun on a responsive yo-yo. Uh, but yeah, pop art. I don't know how much these sell for. This is the thing by Toy Bania. Toy Bania is based out of I think India or Indonesia. I know those are totally different, and I can't remember which one it's from. But Toy Bania, Toybania. This is called the Thing, and this is like a $25 plastic yo-yo. It is half spec, so it's a C bearing size, like the same size that you would have in most yo-yos, but it's half size. I prefer for responsive play, I prefer A bearings over half spec C bearings. But that being said, this thing, I wish I made this because this is an awesome yo-yo. If it had little finger spin hubs, I mean, this is it. It has more rim weight than the pop art, so it's kind of more similar to like an alley cat or a deep state, right? Like it actually has that rim weight that you need for sleep, but it's still super snappy. Where usually you kind of sacrifice one for the other. This thing is good at both. Like I could, see myself doing Spirit Bomb with this if I didn't have a counterweight on it, and I could see myself doing, usually it's one or the other. Usually you're using a semi-responsive yo-yo or you're using a modern responsive yo-yo. But this one seems almost pretty good at both. Thanks for the note, Ernie. Ernie says the pop art is 45. I don't have any on stock on my shop, but Rain City Skills does, and it is a yo-yo I designed in collaboration with him. Hence the name Pop Art. Oh, and one more thing from Toy Bania. Like I said, this yo-yo is like $35. Uh, this homie is also like $35 or $40. It's super super close, and it is a metal yo-yo. And I usually don't use metal yo-yos for freehand for counterweight. And the only reason is because you drop the yo-yo a lot, right? But that being said, if you don't mind dinging a yo-yo, and this yo-yo is super cheap, this is a really good way to learn all this stuff. So this is the Toy Bania. I think it's called the Stoopid, Stoopid. And the Stupid is stupid cheap, very responsive. It's basically just a metal version of the Thing. And yeah, this is a killer yo-yo. So the only thing the Thing and the Stupid are missing are those finger spin areas. You can still do kind of a finger spin, by just kind of putting your fingers on the rims. You can still kind of do that. It's a little easier with this than it is with the Thing. That being said, it's still pretty tough. All right, more questions. Let me have them. Yo-Yo Expert has pop arts. That's good. I don't think Yo-Yo Expert has the Toy Bania, and they really should. Toy Bania is kind of an underrated. They have some really good stuff, and their prices are insanely cheap. All right, I'm planning on wrapping up soon because I know all of y'all have lives. If there are any more questions, I'm looking for them now. Why not also just give you a little sneak peek of 2 yo-yos in the works. If you are into counterweight play, like 5A play, there's lots more tutorials this week. So, check out live for those. This is a style of Astro, or a style of counterweight called Astro, where you just have a tethered weight and a sliding weight. Maybe someday I'll do, a live workshop on that, but you can go to my YouTube channel and see tons of examples on how to do Astro stuff, kind of getting started with Astro. Boop, there you go. All right. And then 2 upcoming yo-yos. On my site, I have the Icarus, I have Bolts, which these are the Bolt. I'm not trying to do a sale. Like, I'm not trying to give you guys a hard sale. I'm just letting you know what's on there. But I have 2 yo-yos coming up. The Sean Exploder, which is a yo-yo I designed with Sean Garcia, also known as Yotoy Images. This is a yo-yo designed for photography, and it's going to come with a stand. It's going to be really cool. And I have The End Part 2, which is a remake of The End Part 1. Cool. So those are all kind of coming. Thank you so much for checking out the tutorials. Check out Dr. Popular on YouTube. I have a playlist filled with responsive freehand, and I hope you enjoy. Word to all of your mothers, and it's been really great seeing you. Happy Father's Day as well. Cheers.